Before I forget, let's go check on the kiln here before we get going. This is the 8th day of this drying cycle, and we've been hovering around 150 degrees for the past 24 hours. And the heater just cut off. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but it hit its set temperature of 150. It's been going back and forth for the past few hours. But let me see the settings here. We're right where we want to be. This is day number 8, like I said, of running this load through. And for the past 24 hours, I've been running at 150 degrees to do the sterilization period, because after you do the whole entire kiln cycle for your last 24 hours, you want to run this thing at 150 degrees or more, probably no more than 160. I think that's about as hot as you want to get this particular kiln, but run it at 150 for 24 hours to make sure all the buds and critters inside the timber get killed, any kind of bug larvae. See, now we're about down to 149.7. It's kind of going back and forth, but as long as it's hovering around 150 in that ballpark, you're in good shape, because that's pretty hot. That's hot enough to heat the wood up to, I think, 130 degrees is how hot you want to heat the wood up in order to kill all the insects, and that temperature will get you there. So we've been going for just about 24 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off now, and all the vents are closed up, the door's sealed tight, and I'm gonna let this load kind of equalize here for another 24 hours before I open up the doors. Well, I think I got my focus issue figured out on my camera. Now, we're running to Best Buy here before we get going. See if I can get some better batteries. These batteries are terrible. I have one battery out of 3 that works all the time. The other 2 record for like 30 seconds and they quit. Extremely frustrating. Well, they didn't have the batteries. You'd think Best Buy would have a battery for a Canon camera that they sell. You have to order it online, they say, and it's $50 for one battery. $50. That's why everybody's on Amazon nowadays. I just got on my phone with Amazon and found 2 of them for $13. So that's that. But we had this one good battery though. The other 2 are terrible. So I don't drop it and lose it. That should get us through the day here for recording. And it's starting to rain a whole lot here. So I was trying to get some trees on the ground today, but I don't want to be out here in the rain doing it. Not that I'm afraid of rain, but it kind of makes for a hazard when you're cutting timber, I think. You want a good, clear day, in my opinion. But we'll head over to the farm anyways and see what we can get done. $50 for a battery. $50. That's why Amazon's going to win in the long run here. You can get on there and push one button and order it. Ridiculous, $50. Well, right here today, I have no idea what language that's in. I get all kinds of comments on YouTube from people in other countries, and sometimes it doesn't translate it. I have no idea what that guy's saying. Anyways, I'm doing this on my phone and the alerts pop up, but I don't have it in airplane mode. So right here today, cutting some more of this walnut, and this is a very nice walnut, and the rain's getting worse. I think it just dripped down on the screen. Anyways, I heard cutting some more walnut today. This is the first one we're going to go after. It may be the last one if this rain gets any worse. Who knows what's going to happen here. I'll try to get at least one down for the day. I was wanting to get more than that, but I'm not going to stand out here in the rain and make it a little bit unsafe for me. This one is on an embankment, and we're about 20 feet from where we cut the one out on Friday from the last video. It's 20 feet that way behind the camera on the edge of the pasture field, and this right here is in the woods that borders the pasture field in a nice tight forest. So we should have some really nice wood in this tree. And I always prefer to get a tree out of a nice tight forest over an open field, and the reason being is sapwood. When you have a tree like this growing in a forest where there's a lot of timber around it, it's going to grow a lot slower, and the sapwood's going to be a lot smaller. A tree out in the middle of a field or middle of a yard or whatever is going to have a lot of sapwood in it because it didn't really have to fight for no nutrients or fight for sunlight or water. It was really just open season when it came to growing every spring. You had no trouble growing, and the sapwood really took over the heartwood, and you have a lot more of it. And that's why trees like this in the forest, you have a lot less sapwood in them. Of course, I could be eating crow when we cut this down. It could be all sapwood, but I'd be really surprised. So it should be a lot of good heartwood in this walnut. We're going to do the face cut on the opposite side of me, which would drop it right toward the pasture field where it's leaning. The limbs are leaning that way anyways. So this tree's been fighting for sunlight its entire life because it's in this tight forest like we talked about already, which is good, but the pasture field is the closest light for it, so it's always going to be leaning toward that way. So all the limbs and the top canopy of this tree, the entire thing is leaning toward the pasture, so we'll have no trouble felling it that way. It is going to be a real challenge today trying to video in this rain and not get my camera soaked here. I'm using my phone right now. And one more thing I was going to share with you guys. On Tuesday or Wednesday, I got a shipment coming in. I'm getting a brand new tool for the sawmill. That's going to be a whole entire video series on that tool and how we use it. So I'll probably do a delivery assembly video of that toward the end of this week. So just give you something to look forward to. Brand new tool coming. I'm not going to tell you what it is till it gets here. We should get 3 9.5-foot logs out of this main tree trunk here on this walnut. Now that tree fell down safely and it fell down where I wanted it to, but the only problem I had was just cutting it down at the base. Now the base of it was around 3 large rots, and I was in really tight quarters right there trying to get to it. My face cut was kind of easy to do. It was facing away from the rots, but the back cut was another story. And once I got in there, I kind of made it at a little bit of a slant, probably a few degrees off of being coplanar with my wedge cut. I was kind of off right there. Didn't affect the way the tree fell, didn't affect anything at all. It just looks for kind of an ugly stump that's left over when you're finished. But It was really tight in there. I really had no choice. I had to get it out of there the best way I could without getting killed. And I didn't want to get right up on top of that cut the whole time because there was nowhere to go if something happened right there. So I got a real nice tree here. Got 3 9-foot logs out of it and a lot of nice green woodworking wood out of the top of it. The limb is rather large. The part that ascends off of this main trunk, a lot of good bowl blanks in there for spoons and stuff like that for people who like to work with green wood.